I read a few of them, and one said,
She did borrow my phone.
I did.
And look at the comments.
And I'm like, okay, I'll get on
Laura
TikTok
and I are
today.
so glad there's somebody else that is inept like we are.
Hey guys, welcome back to AA Skin Babes Pod. I'm your host, Lena, licensed esthetician, and I have Laura back with me.
Hello?
Laura Jambrosic.
Jambrosic, yes.
And she knows our
Laura.
I'm making her announce her own name because I
I need a
always get it
nickname.
wrong.
Just make me a nickname. Not you. You make me a nickname.
Oh, you don't want my nicknames?
Not Lena.
We all know the last time, the fiasco that happened with the last name. She does permanent makeup. What all do you do?
Well, I own a hair salon in Raymore for about the last 30
Yes.
years. And I do permanent cosmetics, all forms of paramedical tattooing.
All right. And then we have Kristen.
I'm sorry. Heather was just crawling on the ground.
Do we know why?
I'm Kristen. I'm an esthetician.
And then we have a new face, familiar face. She was here last month on a couple of episodes, and we have Miss Kim back with us.
Yes, nurse practitioner, owner of Horizon Medspa and Wellness.
And one of her videos went absolutely crazy on TikTok. And so that's what we're going to do. Because Kim does not have TikTok yet.
Yet. But the end of today, I'll have it.
We will get
I
it set
promise.
up.
That is my commitment.
Because you guys had a lot of things to say and a lot of questions. I mean, there's over 380 comments, and it's been up for a couple days. So let's answer these questions y'all had that she cannot answer on TikTok because she does not have it yet. But she will be getting it. So the biggest one that has been repeated over and over and over is, because if you know the video, you know the video. We were talking about the difference between cancer treatments being emotional, and then heart disease in women is actually the leading cause of deaths in women.
So hormone replacement therapy, obviously a very controversial subject. I love that this video generated a lot of inquiries and questions and comments.
I mean, there's a ton saying hormone therapy replacement also causes cancer.
But you know what? I'm going to agree that is true, but here's why. So the Women's Health Initiative was in 2002, came out, and it had two arms of the study. So it had one arm of the study that had estrogen and progestin, not progesterone, progestin. And we'll talk about the difference there. And then the other arm of the study had estrogen. And that study was looking at do women, postmenopausal women who use hormone replacement therapy using estrogen and progestin, or just estrogen alone, are we making things better or making things worse in regards to heart disease, cancer, Alzheimer's disease, stroke, blood clots? The arm of the study that showed an increased risk of breast cancer, heart attack, stroke, and Alzheimer's disease was the arm of the study that the patients had both estrogen and progestin. The other arm of the study, which was the estrogen-only group, showed an increase in blood clots and stroke only. These are both oral medications. I will 100% agree that oral estrogen will increase your risk of blood clots, and we know that. It does a first pass through the liver, increases your clotting factors. I do not recommend that anybody takes oral estrogen for this factor, okay? Progestin, let's talk about the difference between progesterone and progestin. So a company that's going to make a drug, they have to get a patent on it. And the patent is only possible if it doesn't already exist in the environment. So they take the natural form of progesterone, that molecular structure, and they alter it slightly. And then they put it through studies, and they get a patent on this drug. And that's how the drug company gets an FDA approval, and that's how the drug company is able to market and make money off of that medication. So it's taking something that's natural, that's already exists in the environment, and they're changing the molecular structure, making it just different enough that they can put a patent on it. That is what progestin is. That is the only thing in the Women's Health Initiative that showed an increased risk of breast cancer. It wasn't even estrogen. And the problem is that when this study came out, the message was hormones cause cancer. However, there are different types of hormones, synthetic and natural, and it's not just estrogen and progesterone, there's also testosterone. So I'm going to go back to that comment. They're saying hormones cause cancer. Yes, certain ones do, but there are many that actually prevent it.
So I love that you hit that. I had 3 initial points here, but we're going to add another one. So there was also a lot of comments about how they started hormone replacement therapy and they started getting blood clots. They relate that to hormone therapy, gave them a blood clot disorder.
Right. Well, that would be an oral estrogen.
So I love that you absolutely hit that.
Yep.
Because that was on there. I didn't really think about adding this because I was like, oh, what time do we have? But love that you hit that. It kind of all plays together.
Yep.
Synergizes
And that's the problem is it gets lumped in. Hormones cause cancer.
And I don't think people realize the amount of difference of the different hormones. It's hormone replacement therapy. Well, there's several kinds.
Yes, absolutely. And I think anybody, you could relate this subject to any profession that you're in. You're going to have people that come back with certain opinions about or a blanket assumption about what your product does or doesn't do. When you go, no, actually, here's really what it is, and really to pull it apart and get the details. And that's what my job is, and that's what my role is as a healthcare provider and somebody who specializes in hormone replacement therapy. My job is to know the difference between those and be able to educate patients on where the risk actually lies and where it doesn't lie, and what the benefits are and what doesn't have the benefit.
There was another one that was probably the second biggest thing was there's a lot of people on here commenting they have estrogen-fueled cancer. Now, there are several. So my cancer is estrogen-fueled. I can't do hormone replacement therapy, so I'm basically fucked on both ends of the spectrum.
So, again, we're just calling it a hormone, right? So we're talking about estrogen receptor-like cancers, breast cancer. I am not going to argue with any oncologist. And really, what it comes down to is I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm the end-all, be-all of all this information. I've spent a lot of time researching this because not only is it for myself, but it's for my patients. And that's really important that I give them the best information, the most accurate information, and I help them make an educated decision about what they want to do for themselves. I have had patients come to me and say, my oncologist, I have a family history of estrogen receptor breast cancer. My oncologist said never to take estrogen, not hormones, estrogen. Okay, fine. There are other things that you can take. There are immense benefits of taking progesterone. Progesterone plays a huge role. It's our calming hormone. It helps with anxiety, heart palpitations, relaxation, calmness, thought process. There's a bunch of benefits with that. Also, testosterone. That's my favorite hormone. I'm sure once I don't have estrogen anymore, I might change my mind. But I'm producing my own estrogen, so it's fine. But testosterone, brain fog, night sweats, metabolism, increased abdominal fat, ability to focus. I mean, I could go on and on about all the benefits of having.
And I think I have every single one of those.
Right.
And I'm working on my pellet therapy now, and I'm just so grateful to Kim
and
for
you
that.
had a great benefit from it, correct?
When you first start it and the first couple of weeks, you're kind of like, oh, I don't know if I'm getting anything out of this. And then I had actually not made it a return appointment. And so my pellet ran out about 3 weeks ago. And then all of my employees and my family was saying, Mom, what is wrong with you? And then I got looking and I'm like, I know what's wrong with me. I feel like I have onset dementia, but it's because my pellet is running out. And I did not realize what a huge, I was sleeping and all of a sudden I'm not sleeping again. Heather was subject to that when I was in Austin. I couldn't fall asleep. I haven't been able to sleep. And so it makes a huge difference, and you don't realize that difference until you don't have it.
And this is very common. And the type of pellets that I use they most likely mimic the release of a hormone as if your body was going to do it naturally. So you're not going to get these peaks and troughs that you would get with certain forms of hormone replacement. So it is very common for patients to say, I notice some difference, but not a lot. But then once it kind of wears off, then they're like, oh,
there it is. That and
that happened to me too. I was having my night sweat. I just thought I was sick. Honestly, I just thought I was maybe I'm a little under the weather. The first time my pellet wore off, maybe a little under the weather, and then I was hitting that afternoon slump again. Around 2-3 o'clock, where you're like, I need some caffeine, and then I couldn't focus very well, and then it was the night sweats, and then I was like, oh my god,
the night sweats and the hot flashes.
My pellet wore off. And so that's when you learn how beneficial it is. But anyway, I've already forgotten what question you asked me.
Oh, it was actually, hold on, I
we
kind of
talked
forgot
about blood
too.
clots. We
Blood
talked about blood
clots,
clots.
and then-
Blood clots, people that have cancer or have beat cancer and they can
Oh.
they do a hormone replacement therapy? Or and that'd be something you would pair with an oncologist.
Correct. Well, the thing is, there is probably just, I'm not going to say I've read every research study. There is almost just as much research showing that women, that there is a benefit, like there is a reduction in breast cancer rates in women that take estrogen replacement as there is that says that there isn't. So it's I'll go back on another one. So we talked about this in the last podcast, but like if something is true, definitely true, then no matter how many times we repeat this study, we're going to get the same result. So my example last time was we know that smoking causes lung cancer. We can all agree on that. It doesn't matter what size the study is or how many people, or if it's men or women, or if it's in another country, or if it's a ton of people or a few people. We know that consistently the result is going to show that if you smoke, you increase your risk of lung cancer. That is not true for estrogen and breast cancer. It's not, the research hasn't been that conclusive and that consistent. So I'm going to go back and say that I still will not, if an oncologist tells a patient, I don't want you to do this, I'm never going to argue with them. I'm not going to say, well, they don't have the right information. And I'm not even going to stand on that now and say that. I don't know for sure, right? Because the research is inconclusive. But I am going to offer them something to help them with their symptoms. It's not estrogen. I have several women who just do testosterone, and they have a great benefit from that. So there's alternatives to that. You just have to talk to somebody who does
And
this.
I feel like hormone replacement therapy is lumped with estrogen.
It is.
That's all it's
Yeah.
lumped with is estrogen. And there's so many other things you're replacing than just estrogen.
There was another comment on there that I just kind of wanted that I read a few of them, and one said,
She did borrow my phone.
I did.
And
I
look
borrowed
at
your
the
phone.
comments.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I'll get on
Laura
TikTok
and I are
today.
so glad there's somebody else that is inept like we are.
So I looked at the comment, and somebody mentioned, was I think the gist of it was kind of against hormone replacement, and she said we really need to do things naturally. I don't know that a lot of people understand the difference. Bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. What that means is that the hormone that we're using to replace is bioidentical to what your body produces itself. It's plant-based, but it's bioidentical. It's the exact same thing. Synthetic hormone replacement therapy is like I talked about. It's those where a pharmaceutical company wants to patent it so they can make money on it. So they alter the molecular structure and they create something that is synthetic. I'm not saying they're all bad, but
and I'm going to button real quick. That right there, there's like 50 comments of hormone replacement therapy is poison. It's bad for you. That right there is the part.
Right.
That's what you're talking about.
There is,
but it has
synthetic ones are true.
evolved.
Yeah.
Just like everything else, it has evolved.
There are thousands of practices across the U.S. that are offering and treating patients with bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, and there is no kickback on that. I have not seen one research study that shows that there is a problem that's come out of that. I'm not saying it's not there. I'm just saying my research and what I've looked in and how much time I've spent in this, I'm not finding that. I'm finding the overwhelming benefit as compared to the negative that's associated with the synthetic hormone replacement therapies.
And that's what, if you're hitting the small clippets on TikTok like this is where you need to go listen to the whole episode because there is a difference. And we talk about that difference and we go in depth in that difference. And that is what we're talking about.
Can I add something to
Yes.
this? Okay. So I won't mention doctors' names, but my own physician, and then I've had an oncologist for over 20 years. And both have said that if breast cancer, hormone-positive breast cancer, was dominated by estrogen, we wouldn't have so many men or young men getting estrogen-dominant breast cancer that we have today. And so I personally, I'm in my late 50s, almost 60, and I've been on bioidenticals for 20 years. And I've had all the benefits and none of the negatives from any of it. But I didn't want a one-size-fits-all pill. And that was what was given to me by my like a regular MD. They said, well, this is all I know what to do. And I've never really thought that was okay. So, but the bioidenticals for me, they look at my hormones, they do my blood work, and they mix it, compound it for me how I need it, and it's been a godsend. But just as far as, I have had breast cancer. I was on bioidentical hormones pre-breast cancer. And my breast cancer came back 100% hormone negative. So I was in the 20% of breast cancer that had no hormone involved. And I had been on hormones bioidenticals since I was about 28 years old. And now I've been on them the last 20 years after breast cancer. So
I love that. And thank you for
I just wanted to
adding
add that to you. Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I think that's awesome. And it reminded me that if estrogen, if estrogen is causing breast cancer, why is the risk of breast cancer higher in women that are postmenopausal that no longer are generating any estrogen? Okay.
Yeah.
When is your estrogen the highest? Your highest when you're younger, so 20s, 30s, childbearing years, and women that are pregnant are producing a ton of estrogen. Did you know that there are countless studies that show that women that have more children, who have bared more children, have a lower risk of breast cancer?
And women who have never had a child have a higher risk.
Correct. So how does that add up, right? So when we're younger and we're pregnant and we have babies, we have the most immense amount of estrogen than anyone. We don't get breast cancer. Yet that when you're postmenopausal, your risk increasingly, as you get further and further away from estrogen, your breast cancer risk gets higher. So I mean, it's
still being studied.
It's right, but it's I encourage people to if this is something that you really want to talk about and you're really curious about and you don't feel well and you think you might benefit from hormone replacement therapy, just spend some time reading.
Yeah. It's everywhere.
Or
Just
do
Google.
a consultation. There's a lot of comments on here on, hold on, let me find it. Okay, so what do we do to replace it? There's one that's in depth that's they've been on hormone blockers for 5 to 10 years. Now they went through something. Now they have to go back on hormones. What do they do? You go to a professional.
Correct.
Number one here.
You could see more than one person too. If
Yes.
you want
There's
multiple opinions.
You go to a
Some very
professional, you
amazing,
share your
professionals in the
concerns,
city.
and you have them help tailor it to you. Not everyone's the same.
And I just want to say that any of our clients, if you need a referral, just reach out to the shop. We've got several people that we refer to, and maybe one practice is better than the other for you. But we've got a handful of referrals that we can send you to.
Yeah,
awesome.
Well, Kim, thank you so much for
Yeah.
coming. She will
I'm so
have a
glad I got to
TikTok
be on the
soon,
show
so
with her.
we're gonna have so much fun with that. I know you missed out. You missed
I
last
know
time.
I missed out last time, and I was really disappointed.
Yeah.
I say we got Kim back because of you guys asking the questions. This is what we've been trying to get. We've been trying to get you guys to ask questions so we can answer them here on the podcast. And because you did that, we were able to get Kim back on the podcast so we can answer all that for you.
And she will be TikToking because once Lena gets done with her, so follow her on TikTok, and she does some great Instagram videos.
Her Instagram is so good.
Thanks.
And then Laura, you do all your stuff too. So make sure you go follow everyone. And all that is in the link
Laura
caption below. Jambrosic.
Gosh, dang it. Jambrosic.
You need a nickname for me.
We do. Laura.
All right. Well, that is all the time we have for today. And make sure you're liking, subscribing, leaving your notifications on. And leave those comments. Because of y'all, we got Kim back.
We
so
really
we
do
need
go
you to
through
comment.
and really do watch or see those comments, and it does mean a lot
And that
to
is
us.
why there have not been any answered. Because she doesn't have TikTok and I don't know how to answer them. So that's why we did it.
I'll get it. I promise. I wish I could tell you what my
I know there's so
handle
many.
is.
It's like, hello.
We'll come up with a fun one.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in today, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.